students, we have completed with the cryptogams, under which we have completed division algae, division bryophyta and division pteridophyta. Now we are moving on to the phanerogams / spermatophytes, under which we are going to start with our first division, that is division Gymnospermae. Division Gymnospermae. Gymno means naked, sperma means seed, naked seed bearing plants. Why is the seed naked? Because in angiosperms it is covered by a fruit wall. Gymnosperms are one step behind in evolution, still ahead of pteridophytes. How are they more evolved than the pteridophytes? If you remember the situation in Selaginella, which is more similar to the higher plants. In Selaginella, the sporophyte had retained the gametophyte and the new sporophyte was also formed while the gametophyte was retained onto the sporophyte. The new sporophyte grew for a considerable period of time but then eventually fell off from the parent sporophyte because of its weight and size. In gymnosperms, how is this situation taken care of? The sporophyte retains the gametophyte, the parent sporophyte covers it with integuments, thereby forming an ovule. In the next step in evolution, that is in angiosperms, the angiosperms still cover the ovule by an ovary wall. The ovule will become the seed and the ovary wall will then become the fruit around the seed in angiosperms. Right now we are in gymnosperms. Only an ovule is being produced, not covered by a fruit wall. Naked seed bearing plants because the ovule is not covered by ovary wall, therefore the seed is not covered by fruit wall because the ovary wall becomes the fruit wall and the ovule becomes the seed, and therefore they are known as phanerogams without ovary. Angiosperms are phanerogams with ovary. There are about 900 species of existing gymnosperms, 3.5 lakh in angiosperms. During Ice Age, the predominant plants on earth were the gymnosperms. You see in the movies, no? Ice Age. Have a look at the plants growing, okay? Most of them are gymnosperms, needle-shaped leaves, cone-shaped conifers. But then slowly the earth became warmer and majority of the gymnosperm species were wiped out from the face of the earth and gradually replaced by the angiosperms. On the present day earth, the angiosperms dominate the earth. There are about 900 species. Most are woody, evergreen, perennial trees and shrubs. The smallest gymnosperm is this plant called Zamia, which is about 25 centimeters. Gymnosperms include the tallest trees on earth, okay, with the giant redwood tree, also called as sequoia, being the tallest of all the plants in the world, reaching heights of up to 110 meters. The tallest of the gymnosperms is Sequoia sempervirens, also called as the giant redwood tree, reaching heights of up to 110 meters. They are vascular, xylem and phloem present. Vascular tissues had started from pteridophytes onwards. If you remember, the first tracheophytes were the pteridophytes. Xylem is mainly composed of tracheids, which are one of the 4 types of xylem cells that are found in angiosperms. Their xylem is mainly composed of tracheids, meant for conduction of water. Vessels, which is another cell which is present in the angiosperms, is absent in gymnosperms. Vessels are a feature of the angiosperms only, except for some higher gymnosperms in which some primitive types of vessels may be found. There is one order called as natales. Natales have primitive vessels. In phloem, they have something called sieve cells. Sieve tubes, which is a feature of angiosperms, are absent. That is about the vascular tissues. Next we look at the sporophyte and the gametophyte. The sporophyte. Sporophyte is the main plant body, which will be 2N. This will be the dominant. It will be green, photosynthetic, independent. It has true roots, true leaves and true stem. Why is everything true in this case? Because of the ploidy, which is 2N. 2N ploidy enables the sporophyte to have properly differentiated root, stem and leaves, which are called as true roots, leaves and stem. Just like how we had seen for Selaginella, many of the leaves were green and photosynthetic, but some of the leaves, spore-bearing leaves, also called as the sporophylls, had compacted themselves into strobili. They are called as sporophylls. In case of gymnosperms also, the sporophylls are compacted into strobili or cones. It is these same cones of gymnosperms that later on become the flowers of the angiosperms. The sporophylls of the Selaginella, they had produced two different types of spores. Remember heterosporous, precursor of the seed habit? Selaginella had produced microspores and megaspores within the cones. So will the gymnosperms. They will produce two different types of spores, heterospores, microspores and megaspores within these sporophylls. Two types of spores are produced. Which are they? Just like Selaginella, microspores and megaspores. First cells of gametophytes. There was an endosporic development of the microspores and megaspores in Selaginella, if you remember. The microspore had resulted in the formation of the male gametophyte with endosporic development. A male prothallus was formed within the spore wall, okay, and it had resulted in the formation of the male gametes. Motile male gametes were formed. What about the megaspore? The megaspore had also undergone endosporic development and had formed the female prothallus, and it had created the female gamete. So the gametophytes will be produced by the microspore and the megaspore. Microspore will form the male gametophyte, which will produce the male gametes, and the megaspore will produce the female gametophyte, which will produce archegonia, inside of which it will produce female gamete. Fertilization does not require water, since male gametes are carried to female gamete by pollen tube. The gametophytes can be described as highly reduced, haploid, retained / dependent on sporophyte. You will get much more clarity about the sporophyte and the gametophyte when we do the life cycle of gymnosperm in detail. Next we will see the classification of gymnosperms into 4 different classes.
महादेव के नाम पे सब्सक्राइब कर दें